Let's go, let's go. Listen, welcome to another episode of Renewed Mind Revolution Podcast with your host, Michelle Cook Hall. As always, it is my honor, my pleasure to be able to come and share with you some tips and some tools that I know will assist you in becoming a better you. That's right, this podcast comes from the scripture, Romans 12:2. Renew your mind. Come on, let's renew our minds. Let's let go of the things of our past and look forward to our future, because our future is in God. And my future is in God. I have a good future. I have a secure future. I have a peaceful future. This podcast is all about resetting, starting all over again, giving yourself a second chance despite whatever choices you made in the past. We are going to access the grace that has been given to us and start all over again. This podcast is to encourage you. This podcast is to uplift you, to empower you, and to strengthen you with much grace and much mercy. So I'm excited to be able to come once again. I always consider it my honor. You guys know that I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for all the love and the support. If you had not had the opportunity to check out our last podcast, please go ahead and do so. It's very important during these particular times that we're living in that we equip ourselves accordingly. So today, because we are in the midst of what is considered the holiday season, there's so much that comes with this holiday season, right? A lot of people get a chance to celebrate around with their families and with their friends, but there are so many people who are suffering. Okay, they call it the holiday blues. And it is not necessarily a diagnosed mental illness, but it is something that it really exists, and people really do go through it for different reasons. And for example, I always talk about grief because grief is something that I have experienced in a large, huge amount. So I have a lot of experience in that. So grief can trigger this type of sadness and depression during this time of the year, because when you're used to having these moments and these family celebrations with family, and your family is no longer here, or your friends are no longer here, then it can bring about sadness and depression. So we are going to learn today, and it's a very short segment, but we're going to learn today about the holiday blues, and we're going to learn how we can face it in a healthy way. This is all about a healthy and productive approach. We know the things that are there. We know it exists, right? We know depression exists, anxiety exists, panic attacks exist. We know the holiday blues exist. But what we try to do once we have recognized and identified the issues that we go through and that we experience, we don't want to just identify them, but we want to do what? We want to become free from them. We want to be able to be healed from them. We want to be able to get past it in a healthy manner. It's all about being healthy and taking a healthy approach towards things. And so we know that succumbing to alcohol or drugs, all these things are just temporary numbing solutions. They do not resolve our issues. So we try to find more healthier approaches to the situations and the events that come into our lives. A lot of people, they do just decide to numb it. I've known plenty of people who have literally numbed themselves into an early grave, just drinking, just doing drugs and doing things to numb and mask, because that's all it's doing is masking the pain, but it does not help to relieve the real issues. We need to get to the root. And if you have not had an opportunity to listen to the podcast that talks about getting to the root of the issue, then look at that and listen to that podcast, because I talk about all the time how to get to the root of your issue. Once you get to the root of your issue, it begins to open up so much for you. We have to first start at the beginning and see, why are we doing what we're doing? So get to that root of that situation. So let's talk about, we are in the midst of a holiday season, and it's supposed to be a festive time. We know that the country, the world is going through a whole lot. So everybody is not necessarily as festive as they would have been or are used to being, but they are still trying to find their way to be happy and to celebrate this holiday season, if for no other reason, to kind of get their minds off what we are dealing with as a country, as a world, as a society, as a community, right? So with this, though, in regards to where we are as a community, with this comes what is called holiday blues. Now, I'm going to share with you some information that's you can find. It's a more updated article online as of this year. It's from Very Well Mind, and you can look that up for yourself. And we're just going to discuss some of the things they talk about when it comes to the holiday and holiday blues. The symptoms. The most common symptom of the holiday blues is a persistent or recurring feeling of sadness that begins during the holiday season. So let's talk about this. Like first, Thanksgiving, you're used to being together with your family. You're used to being together across the table looking at a certain family member, or you're used to having things a certain way, having a certain amount of money, having a job, being able to provide. I mean, and none of these things are the same this year, right? Or haven't been for 4 years or whatever your time frame is. And so this can bring holiday blues. This can bring holiday sadness and depression. Okay. So the first beginning of a holiday season would be like Thanksgiving. Let's use Thanksgiving. So around that time, you will begin to, feel a little sadness. And what's really unique about the holiday blues, especially when it comes to grief, those who deal with grief, is that you won't necessarily be thinking about anybody in particular, or having any real memories about past holidays. It's just all of a sudden you just will feel something's off, something's different, something's weird. And then it can bring about all these other emotions that are attached to that grief, or attached to that depression or sadness or holiday blues. So it's not something that necessarily just, you're concentrating on thinking, about the holidays and what you missed about everybody being together. It can literally sneak up on you, is my point. And so around the holidays, I know this year for me personally, I actually did think, not on purpose, but I just had a moment. I was listening to a certain song, and it just all of a sudden I began to think about, the family and all the people that are no longer here. And, I was able to kind of work through that in a healthy way, by acknowledging the love that we have for one another, and the support and the memories of getting together and cooking, preparing meals, being at the table with our families and laughing and joking and telling stories. And there was nothing that we didn't share. We share all of our business with one another, and just laugh and create memories, and beautiful memories and fun memories. And so those are the things that I choose to do when this comes to me. I choose to remember the positive, the good times, the fact that I was loved, the fact that I was able to love these beautiful souls that came into my life, and to understand the importance of memories. And I don't want you to take that for granted. Even now, I want you to, think about your memories, and think about how important memories are for you and for your family. So just think about memories. Think about, all the time that you have spent with your family, and all the times that you will spend with your family. And we're going to continue on with this conversation in just one moment. Okay, we're going to continue talking about this holiday season and what comes with it for many people, and I mean many people, is the holiday blues. Okay, so we're going to talk about, continue to talk about the symptoms, and we were talking about persistent and recurring feeling of sadness that starts during the beginning of the holiday season. This feeling may vary its intensity, okay, and duration. So it might go for a long period of time. It might be very small, moments, and then it can become very huge moments for you. Some people might feel down periodically, so it might not be consistent. One day you're fine, another day you are feeling, depressed and sad and struggling that particular day. So it can be inconsistent, but experience of brief periods of feeling, down and then feeling upbeat. So it can be up and down, up and down. And so you have to pay attention to this. You have to pay attention to what's going on. It's the holiday season, because you might say, like I said, where is this coming from? Just came out of nowhere, right? Start thinking about what's going on. Oh my goodness, we're in the holiday season. And that's what I had to do. When something just came upon me, like, where does this feeling come from, right? And so I started to remember, okay, so we're during the holiday season, and in our family, the end of November, the whole month of December, it was very challenging for us. So we had a lot of things that we dealt with. So in the middle of November, I began to feel a certain way close to Thanksgiving, and I had to remind myself what happened during that time so that I could understand why I am processing these feelings, right? So sometimes you just need to acknowledge what's going on and say, okay, well, I remember we're close to the holiday season. This is why I'm feeling a little bit, sad, and I'm feeling a little bit more unlike myself. So we're going to acknowledge these feelings. We're going to identify these feelings, and then we're going to identify what's the trigger of these feelings, what's going on right now, what's happening, what have you done, or what have you not done that has caused, or had, it's something that you probably didn't do that has caused it. It's just the time of the year, right? But we're going to identify it any way it is, whichever way it came. We're going to identify it. So let's continue to look at some of the signs of the holiday blues. And just to remind you, we are looking at an article from Very Well Mind. It's the updated article from the year 2020 this year. So some of the signs of the holiday blues might include difficulty concentrating. I don't want you to get caught up in the symptoms or the signs, because a lot of signs and a lot of symptoms, they kind of correlate with each other, or it could just be a multifaceted of things. So you have to know specifically what you're dealing with, what's usual and unusual for you. Everybody's different, right? So you better than anybody else. So what is unusual for you and what is usual for you. So let's just continue. Difficulty concentrating, feeling irritable or angry, okay? Feelings of exhaustion and fatigue. So don't tell me you've been working all day and you're exhausted and fatigued, and then you go, oh my God, this is a symptom. No, you've been working all day. Okay, so don't look at that particular symptom because you have a reason to be exhausted. We're talking about if you haven't even really completed or did anything and yet you're feeling exhausted, then you want to check that out and see, why are you so tired and why are you exhausted if you haven't done anything, okay? Feeling of loneliness, okay? That is something that I believe a lot of people, I wish I would have got the data for you today and I didn't. I apologize, but I am so sure there is a high number of people who experience loneliness during the holiday, right? Not just from losing people, but just not having people in your life altogether, right? So that is a huge thing during the holiday, irregardless to having the holiday blues. All right, people deal with that 24/7 all year round, but during the holidays, it can be a little bit more stronger, right? You feel a little bit more lonelier, lonely during this particular time of the year than any other time of the year, okay? Because you're seeing families together, you're seeing couples together, you're seeing people together, celebrating together. And if you never felt lonely before, this is the time that you really will feel lonely. So this is something else for you to pay attention to. Lack of pleasure in normal activities, things that you normally like to do, normally will pick up your spirit, but this time it's not working. Okay, pay attention to that. Losing interest in activities that you normally enjoy. Sleeping much more or much less than normal. Trouble making decisions and withdrawing from your friends and your family. These are some of the symptoms that you, or signs that you need to pay attention to in regards to the holiday blues. Once again, this is not a diagnosed mental health issue, but it is a real thing that people do experience. These are real symptoms that people really do experience during the holiday season. Okay? And so we talked about the fact that unfortunately many people begin to cope with unhealthy mechanisms, unhealthy measures, right? And we want to make sure that we are handling our holiday stress and holiday sadness or whatever in a healthy way, and not do things like excessive drinking, overeating, poor sleep, and because all of these things will do one thing, and that's going to make the symptoms that we just described even worse. Okay, so if you think that this is going to help you, it's not. It's going to mask it, but then eventually it's going to become a huge problem for you in the end. So that's why we do what we do here, because we want to make sure that what you choose is going to be something that is healthy for you and not something that will be self-destructive. We've talked about self-destructive behavior plenty of times during these podcasts, because it's something that I've seen multiple times, and it really hurts my heart to see people become self-destructive. And so we really want to make sure that the choices that you are making is not self-destructive. If you're already struggling in the areas of depression, drinking, overeating, not taking care of your physical health is not going to help your depression. Stress is not going to be able to be handled by taking drugs. It's just not. These are things that are masking it, but it's masking it for a temporary term. When it comes backs up, when it surfaces back up, it's going to be a more problem, a more huge problem for you that definitely can spiral out of control. So we don't want to get there. We want to make sure that we are making good decisions for ourselves, right? So there are a lot of reasons why people might experience the holiday blues, okay? Some of the possible causes for experiencing holiday blues. Are you ready? Okay. So some of the causes can be exhaustion, just tired, financial difficulties, which is something that we definitely have already discussed. When you don't have what you used to have, so then you start overextending yourself financially, or struggling to afford gifts for family and friends, and create an added burden to yourself. Okay. So this can cause holiday blues. Not being able to go home for the holidays. People are experiencing that for sure this year. For sure. It is a true danger in traveling and, exposing your family members to COVID-19. That's what we're dealing with this year, right? So not being able to go home, be amongst your family, which is something that you have done every year of your entire life. Not being able to even think that you're not able to go this year can definitely bring holiday blues. So you're going to miss your family, miss your friends. And so it does what? It makes your holidays seem even more lonely. So we talked about loneliness already. So it just makes you feel lonely, right? And then begin to think about the holiday of the past. We talked about that. The fact that, you used to be able to sit across the table. For me personally, my partner for my holiday was always my sister, especially for Christmas. Because Thanksgiving, I always host Thanksgiving dinner. Yes, people, I am that person. So my mom and my sister would come to my house and they would eat. And then Christmas was at my mom's house. I was able to take my family there. And me and my sister were just like glued to each other. I mean, we would laugh, we would talk, we would just do sister things, right? And even when I didn't want to be bothered or I was tired or whatever, she always made a way to make me feel better about, being there and everything. She just made everything better when I was there. So, when I began to think about Christmas, right? Going back to my mom's house, right? The first time when my sister wasn't there, it was so challenging. It's been years now since, my sister's been gone. She's been gone since December of 2012. So it's been some years, but every year since then, we still go to my mom's house. But to be honest, let's be transparent with one another. It has been difficult. Not that I don't love my mother. I love her to death. But my partner, my ride, or die friend was my sister. So that's the person that I truly enjoy laughing, joking, and talking to the most. That was my favorite person, And so to have her gone, it took an adjustment for me to go back to a home now that I grew up in but felt empty. Do you hear me? Let's be honest. It felt different. It felt empty. So I get that, the nostalgia of the past. I get that and I understand that. So, this is for you to understand that I'm coming from a place of experience. So I truly understand what it's like to be in a place where you are missing your loved ones. You're missing, the great times and the good times. And if you were like me and you were blessed and fortunate to have somebody in your life that you grew up with that just seemed to make things so much better, then you understand that I understand what you're going through. And so I'm able to tell you from a place of experience that it's real and you can feel that way. And it's okay. It does not make you a weak person or a bad person or a person who lacks faith, because that's not true. We are human beings. We are flesh. God allows us to process things the way he created us to process things in a certain way. And sometimes the mistake is that we forget that we're human. We're not many gods. We're not little gods, We are children of God, but we're not many gods. And God created us to process, loss and grief and pain and all the suffering in a certain way. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of times we process it in unhealthy ways. We discussed this earlier. And I discuss this often because I've seen it so much. I can't emphasize that enough. People of faith who process it incorrectly. People of faith who judge people who are trying to process it the best way that they can, making them feel worse about themselves. Because let's be honest, and I hate to see that, because I have had to tell people before, everybody's not like you. Everybody's not like you. So how you handle things is how you handle things. But other people might find it a little bit more challenging than you do. And your job is to be sympathetic, right? Your job is to not judge or make people feel, worse than what they already feel, but to be supportive if there's somebody that is in your life or somebody that you care about or somebody that you even know. Sometimes just be an ear for them, especially during this time. Be an ear for them. Show them love. Show them support. during this time, not judgment, not tell people you're not praying hard enough. If I hear that ever again, I think I'm going to just scream, telling people you're not praying hard enough, you're not believing enough, you're not trusting enough. I mean, you don't know what they're doing. You have no idea what they're going through. So you can't say that. You might say, well, I've lost people too. But then again, what I've had once again to check people about is this. I don't know your relationship with that family member or that friend or whoever they were to you. So, and you don't know my relationship with whoever I lost. So relationships does affect, let's be honest. Let me be honest with you, and let's be honest together. Your relationship with the person that has left, whether they are left this world or just left out of your life, that relationship, that dynamic of that relationship does play a huge part in the way that you process or deal with them gone, right? It just does. Some people, they have lost a family member that they never even talked to for 20 years. And then they come telling somebody else how they're supposed to handle, somebody that they've seen every day their entire lives. It's just not the same. I'm just being honest with you. It's just not the same. So you can't come and judge people by the way that they're processing, grief or loss or pain or holiday blues. You just can't not judge them. And I definitely don't come from a place of judgment. I come from a place of grace, a place of love. Come from a place of love with people. The same grace that saved me, I pray save you. The same grace and compassion that God shown to me during my lowest moments and toughest moments of life, I pray for that same for you. That's what we do. That's how you're supposed to conduct yourselves and represent the life of Christ, is to, not judge, but to show love and compassion for those who are in a situation that you found yourself in before. Just because you have made it through it, you're not supposed to look down on them. You're not supposed to tell them to get over it. You're not supposed to tell them just get through it. No. You're supposed to show grace and love. And so here on this podcast, I definitely try my best to show this love to you. Come from a place of love, of showing you that these symptoms are real. Yes, the holiday blues is real. I do know it, and I do understand it, and I have experienced it also. So I'm coming from a place of love and saying that grace that got me through it is the same grace that can get you through it. And I'm here to support you. I'm here to push you on and to root you on and to say, yes, you can do it. Yes, you can make it. Yes, they meant everything to you. Yes, your finances not the same. I get it. Yes, you're trying to, provide for your kids during a pandemic. You're trying to give them some form of normalcy during a pandemic. I get it. I'm a parent. I understand. And I'm here to root you on and say, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And that's what I'm here to do. It's to encourage you, to tell you, yes, you can. You can do this. You can make it. You can handle it. Yes, you will be able to come through this like you've come through so many battles before. Yes, we do get little scars, but we're not broken. We are made for this. We talk about this all the time. We are made for this. We are designed to handle whatever comes our way. God does not make mistakes. If he allow it to come, he will allow us to get through it. So I am just here to encourage you, because I know sometimes you won't get that encouragement from a family member. You won't get that encouragement from a friend. Sometimes, just be honest, you won't even get this encouragement from a church family, church member, or even a spiritual leader, because sometimes they might come from a place that you feel is a place of judgment, right? They don't relate to your story. They don't relate to your struggle, right? So because of that, because I know that that is an honest and a real experience for many people, I am aware of that. I am here to encourage you. I'm here to say, yes, I understand that you love God, that you love Jesus, but yet you are still struggling. And guess what? It is okay. You are human, and God will and can get you through this. And so that's where I'm coming from. not from being high up on some mountain, screaming and hollering at people, but I'm right here with you in this valley and telling you, I know what this is like. I know what this hurt feels like. I know what this pain feels like. It's so familiar to me, but let me tell you my story. Come on. Oh, it's so much grace. There's so much grace in my story. And so that's why I do what I do, is to remind you that it's grace. It is grace. Grace is what's ringing in my ear right now today. Just grace to get you through this season of your life, not just through the holiday season, but through this season of your life. There is grace. Grace for you, grace for me. There is grace. Listen. Stress during the holidays can be hectic, and all the stress can sometimes make it difficult to feel, this holiday spirit. But I want you to get past that. I want you to think about the fact that God has brought you to this place. If you took 5 minutes and think about the things that you've been through, and how you thought that when you was going through that this was the end. You had convinced yourself, this is it. This is it. I mean, this is what's going to take me out. This is what's going to take me down. This moment, this situation, this loss, this tragedy, this trauma is what's going to take me out. I have been faithful to this. I have done my best. I have given everything that I have, but yet I am in the worst situation of my life. Somebody has said that before. And you thought to yourself, this is it. This is it. But 2 months later, you look back on that moment and you think, I thought that I was not going to make it through, but the grace of God, I am still here. I am still standing here. I am still here. And I'm here to remind you, just as passionate as you was, and just how assured as you was that you was not going to make it through that last time, you're feeling that same thing now. You're saying to yourself, but it's different. It's different. Guess what? Every time, if you go back and think, every time you went through something that was traumatic, every time you went through a tragedy, every time you went through a change, every time you went through a loss, you said the same thing. This is different. Be honest with yourself. Because see, I know what that's like because I've done it. This is different. You said it every time. This is different. But you came through. I'm going to leave this with you today before I leave. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it to you again. One time I was going through one of the worst moments of my life. Oh my goodness. I mean, it was just boom, 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 boom. You know how I tell you guys, like, just one thing, bam, bam, bam. It was just so much. It was just heavy, right? On my shoulders, my back, I mean, everything. I was bulking. My legs was bulking, right? And I was just like, this is it. This is too much, right? And I said to God, I said, God, this is a place that I have never been in my entire life. Come on, somebody been there? I said that. Lord, this is a place I have never been in my entire life. And I've been through some stuff, but this is so unfamiliar. And I said this is unfamiliar territory to me. I've never been here before. What do? I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm so hurt. And I'm going to tell you this. This is what I heard. It is unfamiliar to you, but it's not unfamiliar to me. See, if I rely on my own knowledge, my own experience, my own strength, then I can say that. I can say this is unfamiliar to me. But who am I trusting to guide me through these areas of my life that is scary and that is tormenting and that is a struggle and that is that is, I can't see, right? It's unseen to me, right? Who am I trusting? Well, I'm trusting God. And so God is saying, listen, you are going through one of the most toughest, cloudiest, sandiest times of your life. I mean, you just can't see your way through, right? The storm, it's a sandstorm. You can't see anything. You've never been in this place before, right? But he's saying to you today, but he has been there. He knows the layout. He knows how it ends. He knows what happens in the middle. He knows. So that's what I want to encourage you with today. That even though this is a very unusual time that we're living in, and I do mean unusual, it's very strange, right? We're finding ourselves in a strange time. That's what I'm going to say. Strange land, strange times, right? But God knows the outcome. He knows the outcome for you. He knows the outcome for me. He knows the outcome for our country. He knows the outcome for this world. He knows the outcome. So let's not put the pressure on ourselves to try to figure things out and stress ourselves on how to work it out. But let's rely on the one who is able to keep us from falling, and the one who brings stability into our lives, the one who is the perfect guide, the one who knows the way, the floor plan. He knows. He is the best engineer there is. He has it all laid out. So we don't have to stress ourselves trying to figure it out. We are going to rely on him to work it out and to guide us. So our position today is, first of all, as you face this holiday season, everything that we talked about, one of those might fit you. One of those experiences might fit you. Understand that you're not alone. Understand that God has not left you. We walk away from God. God does not walk away from us, okay? We drop the ball. We walk away. But he's there waiting to accept you back into his arms again. Because that's where he wants you and I to be. Right there in the safety of his arms. So guide me, God. Tell God today, I want you to guide me. I want you to lead me. And during this season, God, I don't want anything to overshadow, who you are to me and what you have done for me and what you're going to do in my life as I allow you to lead me, God. I don't want to get off course. I don't want to lose my focus. I want you to continue to guide me, God. I want you to protect my heart, protect my mind during this holiday season. God, don't allow me to, become overwhelmed with emotions that, are not healthy for me, God. But teach me how to get through this season and other seasons in my life, God, in a more healthy and positive way. God, I know you equipped me to handle this. I know you equipped me to do this. I know you've called me to this time and this season, because if you had not, God, I would not still be here. But because I am still here, I am so assured that I am still in your plans. And so for that, I give you the glory. I give you the honor for every learning experience, God, even those things that hurt. I give you the glory and I give you the honor. And today, you guys, I want you to put these things into place for yourselves. I want you to sit up, stand up, lift your head up, lift your chin up, and begin to rejoice in the Lord for what he is getting ready to do for you in your life, and for the change that you're about to step into for yourself. Get up and move from that place of depression, move from that place of sadness, move from that place of feeling overwhelmed and feeling defeated, because you're not defeated. You are not defeated. You are more than a conqueror. You are strong. You are beautiful. You are graced by God. You are loved by God. Listen, this has been so awesome. I plan on connecting with you guys again next week. I got some good time to be able to come and share some tips and tools with you, because this is the end of my semester, and so I'm so glad to be able to come back more on a regular basis, and I will continue to do so through this whole break time. So you got an opportunity to hear me a little bit more, and I hope you're enjoying it, because I enjoy sharing with you so much. Remember to connect with me on my social media pages. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram and Twitter. So Michelle Cook Hall, ladies and gentlemen, go to Amazon.com or go to BarnesandNoble.com and pick up our books. We have Faith versus Fear, which is a lot of our material come from Breaking Family Ties. And we have the new release book, which is on Amazon alone, which is called The Crowd. That is a very interesting book. You should take a look at it, especially those who are in ministry, those who desire to be in ministry, spiritual leaders. Take a look at that book. We look at the approach that Jesus took when it came to speaking to the crowd. So I want you guys to be encouraged during this holiday season. Understand that you are beautiful. You are loved and graced by God. And God does not make mistakes. When he made you, baby, he did not make a mistake, okay? So don't feel lonely. You are never alone. A lot of people we share do feel alone during this holiday season, but understand that you're never, ever alone. God is with you always, okay? Even to the end of the earth, he is with you. God bless you guys. Have an awesome, awesome remainder of your week. And we'll see you again next week. You have been listening to Renewed Mind Revolution Podcast. And I am your host, and so glad to be your host, Michelle Cook Hall. God bless you guys. Remember that I love you, but most importantly, guess who? God loves you more. God bless.